Tired of being threatened just for being who we are and existing as we are without hurting anybody else.
Ryan Kinghammer works at Prism in the Grove, one of the bars St. Louis police are investigating as the target of a shooting threat. He fears it will only get worse if some in Jefferson City get their way.
It scares me about how uninformed these politicians actually are.
Right now, there are almost 24 bills pending between the Missouri House and Senate looking to enforce restrictions on LGBTQ+ matters. They range from child health care, drag performances, and vocabulary used in schools. Who's behind all of this? News 4 did research and found these 20 Republican lawmakers behind these anti-LGBTQ bills. News 4 contacted the lawmakers asking what specifically they have heard from their voters that they want the bills. Only 2 responded. State Representative Benny Cook from the Lebanon area would only talk to me on the phone. I took that opportunity. He's behind House Bill 337, banning schools from allowing students to play sports on teams that don't match the gender on their birth certificate. So if a child born as a boy transitions and now is a girl, where does that child play their sport?
Well, on that one there, that needs to be a discussion. We have not had that discussion yet.
Are you okay with gay people?
So I have nothing against anybody. Just so you know that this is not me against any person, or so be it. I'm out there, as I've always said, to protect girls' sports, and that's what the intent of this legislation.
I asked him how many transgender student athletes are in the state. He couldn't give me a number. I asked him to put me in contact with supporters of the bill. He refused. I asked if writers of this legislation consulted with any LGBTQ+ advocacy groups or experts. He said no. He mainly consulted with other lawmakers.
I'm not seeking out feedback. If somebody wants to come and talk to me, they're more than welcome to come and talk to me.
News 4 went to Jefferson City to speak with Representative Brad Hudson on camera, one-on-one.
We are going to make sure that we protect children in Missouri.
His House bill would ban physicians from performing or referring a minor to get gender-affirming care. He says gender dysphoria is real and minors don't fully grasp the consequences of a sex change.
If we wait until some poor Missouri kid comes out and says that my life has been altered because I was subjected to surgery and or drugs that I should have never been subjected to, my life has been changed forever and that should have never happened to me. If we wait until that happens, we have waited too late.
We will not compromise.
Hudson and other Republicans backing similar legislation, speaking at a rally at the Capitol earlier this week supporting the Save Adolescents from Experimentation Act. I asked if he's concerned all of the LGBTQ+ focused legislation will impact Missouri's ability to retain and recruit big business who value inclusion and diversity. He says not at all.
I'm not concerned about, I know there are folks on the other side that would like to act as if there's going to be some devastating economic impact because of this kind of legislation. But, as often is used in politics, unfortunately, on both sides of the aisle at times, sometimes folks try to use fear and intimidation tactics to stall legislation.
Literally, lives are at risk.
Monica Moe Del Villa sits on Mayor Tashara Jones' LGBTQ Advisory Board, a 9-person group formed last June.
We are listening to their voices. We're asking questions of the community in a variety of different important areas, including housing, including employment, including, going through city processes.
She's upset about LGBTQ businesses threatened by violence and calls the Republicans' multiple pieces of legislation egregious. News 4 asked how far the city of St. Louis would go to protect its residents and businesses.
Is the city of St. Louis willing to sue the state of Missouri over this legislation?
I think the city of St. Louis is willing to look at any and all options available for folks so that we can fight for the LGBTQ community, both in the city of St. Louis and to the wider good of the entire state.
This extreme activity has no place in our country.
The city of St. Louis now getting a regional partner in pushing back. St. Louis County Executive Sam Page is creating a task force to combat Jeff City anti-LGBTQ laws.
This is a moment not to be squandered. We'll meet each challenge as an opportunity to push back against discrimination and ignorance.
And over in St. Charles, known as conservative but becoming more diverse, Mayor Dan Borgmeyer is revamping the city's Human Relations Commission.
It doesn't make any difference if you're gay, if you're straight, or whatever. We're going to abide by the law. So there's going to be nobody beat up here because of their religion or their race or their creed or ethnicity or anything else.
He says ordinances mainly focus on racial discrimination needing to be broadened, but it could be a longer road for the region and state because of clashes between cultures, religious beliefs, and upbringings.
It's societal to some respect because it affects a lot of influence besides just the two people who are involved in a relationship. I mean, it's starting to filter down into school systems. You're seeing all the transgender stuff in sports. So that's why I say there's a lot of controversy out there right now that everybody just we need to kind of all kumbaya and get in the same boat and figure out what's good and what's bad and what's acceptable.
Back in St. Louis, Kinghammer says time is running out, and if any of this legislation passes, it will cripple the state's effort to retain and recruit residents.
I've been in the St. Louis area. I grew up in North County, and I live just outside of the South City borders. I don't plan on moving anytime soon, but if worse comes to worse, I will if my rights as an LGBT American is taken away.
David Emilotti, News 4.